Well, first, it was the Hall of Fame. Next up comes the jersey retirement. Vince Carter is set to make history, becoming the first Toronto Raptor to have his jersey, number 15, raised to the rafters at Scotiabank Arena. It's all happening this weekend, and who better to speak Vinsanity than Sportsnet basketball analyst and former Raptor Alvin Williams. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So you're in town strictly for the celebration.
That's it.
Okay, so it's happening tomorrow night. On Saturday, the Raptors have a home game here. Walk us through what you think the impact of this celebration is going to have on Vince himself, the fan base, and the franchise.
Have you been seeing him lately?
Oh, yeah.
Very, very emotional. I think it's emotional times for him, but I think he's relieved. I think he really appreciates, just being, I think, accepted or being validated by the team and the city and the country that, where it all started. And he got a lot of momentum here, and this is where he became Vinsanity. Vinsanity arrived, and Air Canada, half man, half amazing. He did so many great things here, and now to be acknowledged after we know the hard times and
there's some bumpy roads,
bumpy roads. But again, talk about Vince and how much he helped the sport of basketball grow. I think he's doing another thing of helping the organization and other people grow and move past the past, and now we can accept him. He's a part of another growth spurt for this area.
So you're the best person to speak about this because you were Raptors teammate 2 decades ago, I should say.
Why you got to do all that?
I have to do the math. But now you're reuniting as Sportsnet colleagues as well. It seems like it's a full circle moment for you here. You know Vince. You were the first person he thanked when he brought up the Raptors at his Hall of Fame speech here. What's something most people don't know about Vince Carter?
Man, I'm gonna tell you. I'm be honest. I'm be honest, totally truthful. Playing with Vince, it was. I didn't know him as well. I mean, I seen all the great things he was doing, but after a while, it became so popular and it was so hectic. You didn't get a chance to really sit down and build and talk. And as you're playing, you're doing other things. Vince and I want to say, got closer after retirement.
Oh, wow.
And got a chance to really talk, talk about families, talk about the past, talk about the memories and where we're going next, working together. So there's so many things, but I will say from a basketball standpoint, very, very high IQ, understands the game, enjoyed the game, and just one of those things, and just a joyful person. And he likes to talk, he likes to share information. Very helpful for me when I first took the broadcasting job. So he's been there, like step for step with me, really helping me, giving me information, and just being very influential in my next step in life too. So he's been very helpful.
And as you're speaking about us, we saw some of the footage of you throwing some alley-oops his way there. For many folks, including so many folks in the NBA right now, this generation of basketball players, Vince Carter is usually a source of inspiration that you hear mentioned time and time again. What do you think his legacy is going to be? And as a basketball player, as a teammate as well, what's something that players today should try to emulate?
I think, he played 22 years, right? And first, you're taking care of your body, taking care of all of those other things. But Vince is somebody that you've seen at the highest of the highest. He was an ultimate superstar. And then he became a role player, a mentor. So through those 22 years, you've seen him adjust. You've seen him just weather a lot of storms. You saw him just adjust his games and not being a high flyer, that person that we've always seen him to be, the guy that was the mentor in the locker room for the Trae Youngs and the De'Aaron Foxes and young guys that we see dominating the NBA today. So I just think being able to have that ability to adjust, being humble enough to be able to adjust. A lot of superstars, they can't make that adjustment, and they struggle transitioning. So I think Vince is one of those guys that if you put the work in and you understand what it's really all about, he has the part where he gives back to everything that he received early on in his career.
And listen, 2 decades later, we still hear his name mentioned every time there's an all-star game or a dunk competition in the air. So that ceremony is taking place. The celebrations will happen Saturday. Right after that, the Raptors are going to face off. Listen, a lot of Raptors fans here in Toronto are reminiscing about 2019, the day we got that chip there. They are desperately wanting to get back on that winning streak there. Doesn't seem like the squad this year is going to be able to match up against that team, and that's okay. But what do you say to fans about the Raptors of today and the challenges they're being faced with, including injuries and including top player Scotty Barnes?
I know this is all part of it. You know, this is pro sports and the ups and downs. Everyone, you're not going to win a championship every year, but where the Raptors are with the Scotty Barnes, Quickly, and R.J. Barrett, and then you have Grady Dick. And you have some young players really emerging. They're getting opportunities to play. And I think as soon as the young players can get on the floor at the same time and really start building, and the coaches can see what they truly have in that core group, and then you start making pieces in plays and stuff like that, like they did for the 2019. You had a great player in DeMar DeRozan, but you had to make an adjustment, and you bring a player in like Kawhi Leonard with some other players, and now guess what? You win a championship. But it took time. It took a lot of time. I was there for the dog days as well, but it took a lot of time. So again, patience is the biggest key. But the young players that the Raptors have, they're very intriguing, very exciting, and they have a lot of potential.
Okay, Alvin Williams, we are ending up on that note of hope because we're getting into that celebration tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us in studio.
Thanks for having me.